Hey, how's it going? My name's Ted and I'm here to walk you through spirituality and video games. I've always been a huge gamer, ranging from all types of games on the computer and console systems. After doing a little research, I was amazed to find out what may be linked to video games. To start off, I want to give you the Huffington Post's definition of spirituality. They call it being a person whose highest priority is to be loving to yourself and others. While that's nice and all, I'm not here to look at it through that type of lens. When I look at spirituality, I see what may be called a capitalist business. There are too many articles out there to deny highly regarded spiritual places are wealthy and that has an impact on their communities. One example is Fairfield, Iowa, a small town that means a lot to people like Jim Carrey and Oprah who've been praising it for its spirituality. This town has bolstered quite the reputation, and money along with it. My second example would be linking spirituality to consumerism. In my mind, I'm trying to distinguish video games from a spiritual site such as SLN. Its location is remote, beautiful, and there are people there to guide you. Some may argue video games can be played anywhere, making them remote, and that gameplay is beautiful, and that the community and or software developers are there to guide you. At the end of the day, when you look at both these things, it's sort of obvious. All that's required for both is the price of rent for a safe space, and then the result is that both provide meditation and rehabilitation. This concept of video games operating as consumerism is no secret. There are in-game purchases in nearly all video games nowadays, and while they are mostly for cosmetic effect, people still buy into them. Oprah is considered extremely spiritual, and one who bolsters how she bonds with her audience. Believe it or not, her ratings show the majority of her success, and when she gives free stuff away, her ratings go up. Video games do the same type of promotion systematics. Just like Oprah shows where she may pick a person in her crowd to receive a gift, these games operate heavily through a lottery system that hooks their players into buying more. My final point is that video games should be used in competitive business environments. Mark Bertolini used Transcendental meditation and yoga to get himself off of pain meds, rose to the top of his healthcare business known as Aetna, and now he has employees doing the same thing. And the point is, it shouldn't take long for a CEO to replace something so successful like this with video games. Transcendental meditation and yoga have the same meditative qualities as video games to the brain. American Psychological Association did a study on self-regulation. They actually applied this to video games several times in the study. And what self-regulation does, as they say, is making sense of the world. At least in some instances, requires self-regulation. Finding purpose was in this article, and was what I thought was meant by making sense of the world. Pursuing goals was essential to finding purpose in life. The next step of this research was to look at meaning, which is made up of coherence, significance, and purpose, and see if self-regulatory efforts in one of those domains has positive effects on the other. The conclusion of the study was that self-regulation is important to meaning in life, thus it should be applied to video games. A PhD from Texas A&M named Christopher J. Ferguson, who helped out on this article as well, said, "Recent research has shown that as video games have become more popular, children in the United States and Europe are having fewer behavior problems, are less violent, and score better on standardized tests." He went on to say violent video games have not created the generation of problem youth so often feared. This study worked with violent video games. There has been a research study done by the students of California State that shows the relation between Halo and chess, and if they have a positive or negative effect on the brain. For those who don't know, Halo is a mature-rated game that I personally have grown up playing. It combines everything one could want in a video game: shooting aliens, strategizing how to win, etc. Anyways, the study came up showing that they don't have a bad effect at all on the brain. It was a study that tested responses of attention and meditation. And put into perspective, Halo is as meditative as chess, and as everyone knows, chess is a one-player game. It's interesting to see how video games are shifting from multiple players allowed on an Xbox at a time to only one player allowed, much like chess. It truly immerses the player into the game, giving it an enhanced spiritual and meditational touch. Going back to that journal entry recently posted by American Psychological Association that did a lot of research with video games, they found the meaning of nostalgia and how self-regulation facilitates meaning in life. Nostalgia used to be looked down upon until very recently. Nostalgizing is when the individual brings to mind a fond and personal relevant occasion, typically involving their childhood or close others. People prone to this were correlated to find more meaning in their life. On top of this, nostalgia entails social connectedness, meaning they feel more loved, connected, protected, and more willing to help others, mainly when they exhibit nostalgia. And while it didn't help people with stress deficits, it did help people who suffered from meaning deficits and allowed those people to be in stressful environments. It is something that is considered to be part of human life, and is definitely a part of gaming. I have nostalgic moments of video games all the time. I asked my friend Ben what he thought of nostalgia on video games, and he said this.
I still tag my RuneScape friends in RuneScape memes all the time on Facebook, and we still bond over our mutual love for a game we all grew up with. I've played RuneScape since 2006, so over 12 years now, and I'll always remember the fun adventures I had in the game with my friends online.
I knew that I was experiencing nostalgia with video games, but to hear that a close friend of mine had it too was a good feeling. It meant I was going in the right direction with this argument. RuneScape might be a computer game, but anything that relieves stress should be taken into account. Whether you're playing Call of Duty, RuneScape, any of the Halos, the fact of the matter is that you are helping yourself meditate. In conclusion, the research done to this day may show that video games are not harmful to the brain, but there is so much more research that has to be done. That is, in order to get it into a competitive work environment. Thank you guys so much for listening. Have a nice day.